Okay, so let's offer our respects to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we are in the middle of the Bhakti section of the Bhagavad Gita. We are in chapter number 9. And in chapter 9, most confidential knowledge. What have we seen so far? Let's have a quick overview. So this chapter begins, first of all, by Krishna telling Arjuna that he's imparting this most confidential knowledge to him because he is never envious of him. And then he goes on to glorify this knowledge by saying how this is Raja Vidya, king of education, Raja Guhya, most secret of all secrets, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, it's the purest of all, Pratyaksha Vagamam, it gives direct perception of the self, Dharmyam, it is a perfection of religion, Avyayam, it is everlasting, and it is Sukham, it is joyfully performed. So then Krishna says those who are not faithful, then what is their destiny? What is their fate? That again they have to return to the path of birth and death. Then from verse 4 to verse 10, Krishna is talking about his Aishwara Gyan, or about his opulence. He's giving knowledge of his opulences not because he likes to blow his trumpet, but because when we hear the opulences of Krishna, then we appreciate his sweetness even more and we get attracted to him even more. So for our well-being, Krishna is revealing some of his opulences. So here he says how everything rests upon him, how by his potency everything is created and then again destroyed and then created again, how the entire cosmic manifestation is under him. And then of course he talks about the Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, how he has created everything, yet he is detached from it. So he is in and out at the same time. Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. So that we saw till verse 10. Then in 11 and 12, Krishna spoke about the Mudas. The Mudas, those who don't surrender to Krishna, those who think that Krishna is an ordinary human being. When he descends in a human form, they think that he's an ordinary human being. So here 11 and 12, Krishna is talking about the Mayavadis. Then 13 and 14, he goes to the other extreme. Here Krishna is talking about the Mahatmas, the pure souls, who are chanting his glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before him and worship him with devotion. Now in 15, after he has spoken about both the extremes in the previous 4 verses, in 15 he talks about the people who are in between these 2 categories, the Ekatvenas, Prathakvenas and Vishvato Mukhams, the Monists. And here we discussed last time how here he's talking about the Brahmavadis. He cannot be talking about the Brahmavadis here in 12 because the Brahmavadis are not demoniac and atheistic. because they are not offensive to the Lord. So from here we know in 12, he's not talking about the Brahmavadis. Here he's talking, when he says monas, here in 15, he's worshipped the Supreme Lord as one without the second. Here he's talking about the Brahmavadis. Then as diverse as many, they believe in the demigods, different kinds of all the devatas. So they are the demigod worshippers, and in the universal form, those who worship the universal form. Uh, how people see God in the different material manifestations. So in 15, he's mentioning these three categories that are in between the above two extremes. Then in the next four verses, 16, 17, 18, and 19, Krishna is talking about the about the Vishwatomukhams. So therefore, he's talking about how one can see him in different material manifestations. Then from 20 to 25, he's talking about demigod worshippers. So he says about those who drink the soma juice, they go to heavenly planets. So they're following the karma kanda. So one may think that, oh, that is great. But then immediately in the next verse, he says that, but then what's the problem? They return to this mortal planet again. So it's not really that great, Krishna is saying. Then 23, 24, 25, he's talking about how those who worship other gods are actually worshiping him only. So one may think that, okay, then whomever you worship, at the end of it, everything is the same. No, there is a difference, because again, Krishna is saying those who worship the demigods take birth amongst the demigods. So it's not the same thing whether you worship Krishna or you worship any other devata. Although the worship reaches Krishna, the worshipper does not reach Krishna. Now, in the middle of this section where Krishna is talking about demigod worship, he puts in one verse where he's talking about bhakti yoga, pure bhakti yoga. Can you say which verse that is?
Can you repeat the question, Mataji?
In this section from verses 20 to 25, where Krishna is talking about demigod worshippers, in one verse, he's talking about pure bhakti yoga. Here, he's not talking about demigod worship. Which verse is that?
23.
23. No, but 23 also, he's talking something about demigod worship. No, those who are devotees of other gods. So that subject matter is there in 23.
I don't know.
Okay, it's verse number 22, because what does he say in 22? Those who worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So this is one verse, a very endearing verse, right in the middle of the demigod section, where Krishna is saying that if you worship me with exclusive devotion, then I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. So this is just like a parent, loving parent who tells a child, probably the child is opting for something that is not very good for the child. So the parent may say, yes, all right, that's fine. But you know what? This is a better option for you. Look, if you take this, then this is the best for you, like that. So Krishna is saying, yes, demigod worship, you get some benefits, you can go to heaven. But look, if you worship me with exclusive devotion, then I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. So here in this section, now actually the verses that we are going to read today, Krishna is going to reveal what he feels, how he feels when we render devotional service unto him. So as we said before, this is the chapter in which Krishna is revealing his emotions, and his emotions actually touch the peak in chapter number 9, especially in the last section, which we are going to read today. The only other place where he does this in the Bhagavad Gita is in the last chapter, the 18th chapter. So today we have to start from verse number 26. So we need volunteers for reading.
I can volunteer.
Me too.
So you would like to read the translation or the other text?
Yeah, I can read the translation.
All right. So Shreya, can you do the other text?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay. That's before that, please repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Okay, so verse 26.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachyate tadaham bhakyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanah.
Translation. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it.
So, see, Krishna is saying that if someone offers me with love and devotion, so these are the key words here, love and devotion. What, even the most insignificant of offerings, a leaf, he does not even say leaves. He's not even saying it plural. A leaf, he says just one. A leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. So the word bhakti comes twice in this verse to reinforce the fact that the key thing is our feeling, our devotion for the Lord. And then Krishna says, asnami, I will accept it. In the Mahabharata, there is this incident where Duryodhan invited Krishna for a royal feast. But Krishna rejected Duryodhan's invitation and he accepted Vidura's invitation for a very simple meal because Vidura is the son of a maidservant. So Duryodhan asked Krishna, why did you reject my invitation? That time Krishna tells him that one eats in another's house only for two reasons. One is either one is hungry or the other reason there is some affection between the two parties. So Krishna tells Duryodhan, in this case, I am not hungry. And because you are hostile to the Pandavas who are righteous, therefore there is no affection between us. Therefore, I do not accept your offer, he tells Duryodhan. Okay, so since there is no affection there, and Krishna considers his devotees' enemies also as his enemies. That's why he tells them that because you are hostile to the Pandavas who are righteous, because Krishna has affection for the Pandavas, Pandavas are his devotees, therefore he does not accept Duryodhan's invitation. There is a story in this regard. Let's hear from Srila Prabhupada.
There is a Vangshidas Babaji Maharaj. He was talking with his deity. And Krishna, just like Madan Mohan, he was talking with Sanatana Goswami. Madan Mohan, Sanatana Goswami at that time had no temple. He was hanging his deity on the tree. So Madan Mohan was talking with him, Sanatana. There is a Vangshidas Babaji.
You're not able to hear?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Bhagawad Maharaj, he was talking with his deity. And Krishna, just like Madan Mohan, he was talking with Sanatana Goswami. Madan Mohan, Sanatana Goswami at that time had no temple. He was hanging his deity on the tree. So Madan Mohan was talking with him, Sanatana, you are bringing all these dry chapatis and it is stale and you don't give me even little salt. How can I eat? Sanatana Goswami says, sir, where shall I go? Whatever I get, I offer you. You kindly accept. I cannot move, old man. So Krishna had to eat that. Because the bhakta is offering, he cannot refuse. Jimang bhaktya prajach. Real thing is bhakti. What you can offer to Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. Huh? What you have got? What is your value? And what is the value of your things? It is nothing. Therefore, the real thing is bhaktya. Real thing is your feeling. Krishna, kindly take it. I have no qualification. I am most rotten fallen. But I have brought this thing for you. Please take. This will be accepted. Don't be perturbed. Always be careful. You are dealing with Krishna. That is my request. Thank you very much.
Krishna Kirtana Ganana Tanapano Premamritam Manidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priyau Priyakarau Nirmasanau Pujitau Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhubi Bhuva Bharavahantarakam Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujagam Sri Jiva Gopalakam.
Jai Prabhupada. Okay, so as we see, Prabhupada says that the real thing is bhakti. What do we have? What is our value? And what is the value of our things? Krishna has everything. So the real thing is our feeling. Let's read some points from the purport.
Focus of learning, purport 9.26. Bhakti is easy and universal. Only qualification required is to be a pure devotee. No other qualification required. Can be attempted by poorest of the poor, no matter where one is or what one is. Compared to other processes, simplest process and highest perfectional stage offered, Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more, irrespective of quantity or type of object. Even a little flower or leaf, fruit or flower from a pure devotee will do, but no offering is accepted, however big may be, from a non-devotee, because the Lord is self-sufficient and not in need of anything.
So the Lord is self-sufficient. He does not need. We offer one apple, some fruit, some rice, some sabzi, some dal. Does Krishna need it? No, he does not need it. He is self-sufficient. It is it is for our own purification, right? There is an interchange. When we offer something to Krishna, what is there in that plate is bhoga. But after we offer it, Krishna accepts it. Now it becomes prasad. So we are giving our love to Krishna, and Krishna is giving us his mercy. We are giving our love, Krishna is giving us his mercies. The word prasad means mercy of the Lord. Mercy means what? Getting something that we do not deserve. Getting something that we do not deserve. One example is, let's say there are two friends, and one friend sends some cookies to the other friend in a box, and then this other friend in the same box, now she empties the cookies and she puts something else. Let's say she puts some gulab jamuns in the box and she sends it back to her friend. Now to somebody who's looking at this exchange from outside, he will think that what's happening? One box has gone in and the same box has come out. What has changed? It's the same box going in and out. But no, the contents of it has changed. There has been an interchange of love between the two friends. So in the same way, when we offer something to the Lord, it may appear that in the plate there is the same dal, same rice, same sweets, same fruit, but no, it's not the same. We have given our love, Krishna has given us his mercy. More points from the purport.
Importance of word bhakti. Bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse to declare empathetically that bhakti is the only means to approach Krishna. No other condition Being a Brahmana or rich man or scholarship or philosopher can induce the Lord to accept any offering. Prohibited items. If you love Krishna, offer Krishna whatever he wants or avoid offering that which is undesirable and unasked for. Why offer? To enjoy without offering is sinful. Attitudes in offering. Most important element in preparation, serving, and offering is love.
So this we already discussed how bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse. Now, prohibited items. Now, one cannot say based on this verse that, okay, I will offer to Krishna some chicken with love, and then Krishna will offer it, and then I can make the chicken prasad. No. The items that are prohibited, the items that Krishna will not accept, we cannot give to Krishna to eat. And why we have to offer? We saw this verse in the third chapter, that when we eat something without offering to the Lord, then we are taking only sin. Irrespective of whether the food is vegetarian or vegan, does not matter. If it is not offered to the Lord, then we are eating only sin. And of course, love is the most important element. Now, Krishna's senses are interchangeable. What does that mean? Our senses are not interchangeable. If we want to see, then we need our eyes. If we want to hear, we need our ears. We cannot see with the ears. We cannot hear with the eyes. But Krishna's senses are not like that. He can do whatever he wants with any of his senses. His senses are interchangeable. What are the examples of that? Lord impregnates by his glance. We saw how Mahavishnu, at the time of creation, he glances at material energy, and his glance takes the form of Shambhu, and then Shambhu and Durga unite, and then all living entities come from the womb of Durga. So he impregnates just by his glance. Krishna eats by hearing the devotees' words of love, says Srila Prabhupada. Krishna speaks by breathing and gives the Vedas. When was this? At the dawn of creation, when Lord Brahma received Vedic knowledge, he got it via the transcendental sound vibration of Krishna's flute. So Krishna is playing the flute. So by his breathing, he has given the Vedas to Lord Brahma. So Krishna's senses are interchangeable. They are not like our senses. So here are some examples. Gajendra offered the lotus flower to Krishna, just one flower, and Lord Vishnu came to his rescue. Then this is the story of the Tulsi leaf. Now Krishna has 16,108 wives, and he's living in Dwarka with his 16,108 wives and 16,108 palaces. Once Narada Muni went to visit Krishna, and then there was this this pastime that was played out, and Krishna was sitting on one side of a balance of a scale, and one of Krishna's wives, Satyabhama, she brought all jewelry, all jewels, all ornaments that she had, and she placed it on the other side of the scale, but the scale would not tilt even a little bit. But then Rukmini, Krishna's first wife, she just placed one tulsi leaf on the other side, and immediately the scale was balanced. So one can get Krishna just by offering one leaf. And of course, the best leaf to offer to Krishna is tulsi leaf. Then again, here on the left side, you have Shabri, who offered half-eaten berries to Lord Ram, and he accepted it. On the right side, you can see how we don't know the name of this fruit seller, but the fruit seller, she offered all her basket of fruits to Krishna, although Krishna did not have anything to pay as such, make a payment, like how we normally would pay for the fruits, because she's selling fruits. But then Krishna reciprocated her love by filling her basket with all kinds of precious stones and jewels. Then again, this is Vidura's wife. She has offered banana peels to Krishna, and Krishna has eaten the peels with great relish. So I was listening to a lecture, and the speaker was saying that if you want to really understand Krishna's love for his devotees, and you want to understand this pastime, this particular pastime, then try eating a banana peel, and then only you will be able to understand this Leela, this pastime of Krishna. So everything expensive is not valuable. Everything valuable is not expensive. Can you think of some things which are very valuable but not expensive?
Water,
Water, yes.
salt,
Salt, yes.
Breathing, the air we breathe.
The air we breathe, oxygen, isn't it? We can't do without oxygen even for a few moments, yes.
Earth.
Earth, yes, Mother Earth. We put one small seed in the earth, we get trees, we get fruits, we get so much from her, right? So many minerals. Anything else you can think of?
Sky. Sky, Mataji.
Sky, yes, the sky which is covering. Okay, so I was listening to a lecture by my Guru Maharaj, and he was saying that how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, first of all, who is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master's name, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's father is Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is also an Acharya in our disciplic succession. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was searching for a copy of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in the whole of West Bengal, he couldn't find even a single copy. And that too in West Bengal, imagine, because that's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And that's where the Acharyas have written these great scriptures in the Bengali language, isn't it? So in West Bengal itself, he couldn't find a single copy of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it took him several months of intensive searching until he could finally get a copy. But right now, the Chaitanya Charitamrita is available online. It's available in bookstores, in the ISKCON temples, and it is even available free of cost on our vedabase.net, isn't it? So we need to realize how precious it is, because not very long ago, just 3-4 generations before, not a single copy was available. But because of Srila Prabhupada's tireless efforts, because of his translations, these books are now available to us at the click of a button. So we need to appreciate and we need to realize the value of these books and the value of Srila Prabhupada's service. Okay, so let's read this.
Bhakti is the only means to approach Krishna. Nothing else can induce the Lord to accept any offering. Krishna does not see the offering, he sees the intention behind the offering.
So Krishna sees the intention behind the offering. Now let's discuss, can one conclude the same about the demigods? Do the demigods see the intention behind the offering? Let's read the story.
The demon Vrikshasur went to Kedarnath and ignited a sacrificial fire to please Lord Shiva. In the fire, he began to offer his own flesh by cutting it from his body. On the 7th day, the demon Vrikshasur decided that he should cut off his head and offer it to satisfy Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appeared from the fire to check the demon from suicide. Vrikshasur asked, "May death come to whomever I touch upon the head with my hand." As soon as Lord Shiva granted this benediction, the demon, in order to test Lord Shambhu's benediction, tried to put his hand on the Lord's head.
So just see this demoniac mentality. He has done so much tapasya to please Lord Shiva for a benediction, and then Lord Shiva gives him the benediction. And once he has got the benediction, now he wants to kill Lord Shiva himself. He wants to put to test this boon, and he wants to put his hand on top of Lord Shiva's head itself. Just see. Who's this? Which demon is this? Who's the personality on the swan?
Brahma, right?
Yes, so Lord Brahma has given benedictions to whom? He did so much tapasya that his body was completely covered with an anthill, and his flesh was completely eaten by ants. What was left behind was just bones. Who is he?
Didn't Brahma give benediction to Prahlad's father?
Yes, he's Prahlad's father, correct. Do you remember his name?
Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyakashipu.
Yes, exactly. Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu got so many boons from Lord Brahma, no? That he will not be killed during the day, nor during the night, nor inside the house, nor outside the house, not by any human being, nor by an animal. So like that, he gave him so many benedictions that Hiranyakashipu became very, very powerful because of those benedictions. And what he started doing was, he said that Lord Vishnu is not God. Do not worship him. I am God. You have to worship me. And he installed his own deities in temples, and he wanted everybody to worship the deity of Hiranyakashipu, his own deity. So the demigods, they do not see the intention behind somebody's offering before they give benedictions. Okay, the reason why is here in this verse. Now, once Narada Muni had gone to visit Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna's father. So he had gone to visit him. And Vasudeva received him with a lot of respect. And you can see the picture, he's washing his feet also. So then there is a conversation that happens between the two. So here Vasudeva comments to Narada Muni. What does he say? Let's read translation. Komal, oh, that's Shreya.
Okay, sorry. Translation. Those who worship the demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering. The demigods are attendants of karma, like a person's shadow, but sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen.
So see, the demigods are attendants of karma. If we do some punya and we have some positives in our karmic bank balance, then the demigods give it to us. They give us what is in our karma. So the demigods are attendants of karma. They do not consider whether it is good for us or it is bad for us. They do not consider that. They are simply attendants of karma. Let's see what Prabhupada writes in the purport.
Purport 11.2.6. The demigods are empowered by the Lord to follow precisely the particular karma of a living entity in awarding him happiness and distress. Just as the shadow cannot move independently, the demigods cannot punish or reward a living being independently. Although the demigods are millions of times more powerful than the human beings on earth, they are ultimately tiny servants of God whom the Lord allows to play as the controllers of the universe. On the other hand, devotees of the Lord, such as Narad Muni, by their potent preaching, can interfere in the karma of a living being by persuading him to give up his fruitive activity and mental speculation and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So, demigods are not independent. They cannot punish or reward a living being independently. And then Srila Prabhupada says that, but if you come in touch with a devotee by the sheer power of his purity, by their potent preaching, they can interfere in the karma of a living entity and he can change the karma of a person. This is how when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, all those Westerners were, in America especially, it was the hippie movement that was going on strongly. And these hippies were all into drugs and rock and roll and stuff like that. Yes, but then when they came in touch with Srila Prabhupada, they surrendered, not all, but so many of them surrendered to Prabhupada. And today they are stalwart preachers in our movement, isn't it? So when one comes in touch with a pure devotee has the potency to change the karma of a person. Now, of course, one may argue that, well, demigods are also devotees, right? So yes, that's true. But if we approach a demigod for spiritual benedictions, then the demigods also can give us blessings to advance in Krishna consciousness. We saw the story of Vallabhacharya, who granted his devotee. Vallabhacharya was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he asked Lord Shiva to give him his most precious, the thing that is most precious to him. So then Lord Shiva gave him a deity of Krishna, and then Vallabhacharya worshipped the deity of Krishna and he became a Vaishnava. Then we have the story of Chandidas. Chandidas was a devotee of goddess Durga, but then by the blessings of goddess Durga, he also became a Vaishnava poet, and he composed many songs. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also used to read the poems that were composed by Chandidas. Chandi is the name of goddess Durga. So he's Chandidas. Originally he was a devotee of goddess Durga. So like that, even Keshava Kashmiri, we see in the Chaitanya Leela, Keshava Kashmiri, it was revealed to him. Lord Chaitanya's identity was revealed to him by goddess Saraswati. He was a devotee of goddess Saraswati. And then by the blessings of goddess Saraswati, he was able to identify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we approach the demigods for spiritual benedictions, then we can get that. But if we approach the demigods for material benedictions, then the demigods, they can give us what is in our karmic bank balance. Just as how the cashier in the bank, when we go to withdraw money, only what is in our account, the cashier can give us. So like that, the demigods are agents of karma. So here we have this example of the bank teller or the cashier. Let's go to 27. Okay, anyway, what was the original verse so that we don't lose track? In 9.26, what did Krishna say? That if you offer me with love and devotion, even a fruit, a leaf, a flower, or a little water, I will accept it. So the word asnami is there. Krishna says, I will accept it. And the word bhakti comes twice. Now somebody may ask, okay, but now I don't have any bhakti. I don't have any devotion. So what do I do? So Krishna answers that in 27.
Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam.
Translation: whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me.
So say Krishna saying, okay, if you don't have any bhakti, then what's the answer? Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, whatever austerities you perform, first you offer it to me. Okay, so there is no bhakti, but at least if we offer it to Krishna before we consume whatever we want to eat, at least it is karma free, right? Because we have offered it to the Lord. And as we go on offering day after day after day, then slowly the love, the devotion will develop. So 27 is a notch lower level than 9.26. 9.26 is at a higher level. That is talking about pure devotional service. So see here in this verse, the word bhakti does not appear at all. Neither does Krishna say asnami. He doesn't say that I accept it. He's just saying, whatever you do, whatever you read, you do that as an offering to me. Now that doesn't mean just because the word asnami is not there, it doesn't mean that Krishna does not accept. Now, whether Krishna accepts or not, and how much he accepts, that is in proportion to our feeling. Okay, so Krishna reciprocates in proportion to what the devotee has to offer. Now, of course, Krishna says that he is ready to accept even one leaf, one fruit, one flower, little water. That is Krishna's love for us. But what is our love for Krishna? Our love for Krishna is that we offer to the Lord as much as we can or to the best of our ability. Not that we offer to the Lord one fruit, but the rest of the day we are eating a lot of stuff, right? Nice, delicious food stuff. No, that's not our love for Krishna. Krishna's love for us, he says, I will accept even these simple offerings. But our love for Krishna, how do we show that? By offering him the best quality food according to our capacity. That should be our love for Krishna. Okay. So as a result of doing this 27, whatever you do, whatever you read, whatever you offer, first do it as an offering to me. As a result of this, what happens? That Krishna tells in 28.
Shubha shubha phalairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamupaishyasi.
Translation: In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me.
So as a result of doing 9.27, what happens? Shubha, Ashubha, Phalay. All the auspicious and inauspicious results, we will be freed from that. We will be free from everything, all good karma and bad karma, all punya and papa. Why even punya? Because both punya and papa are material and they will keep us in this material world. Punya will take us to heavenly planets, but we have to still come back. So the idea is not to go only till the heavenly planet. So he's saying that when you do everything as an offering to me, then everything, all your papa and punya will go away, and then you will be liberated and you can come to me, says Krishna. So with this, we come to the end of section 5. Now let's see the last section of this chapter.
Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshosti na priyah ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahi te teshu chapyaham.
Translation. I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
So this is a very, very enduring declaration by Krishna. This verse is a glimpse into Krishna's heart. What does he say here? See, actually, it may appear that it appears as though he is contradicting himself here, because in the first 2 lines of the verse, he says that he is impartial. He says, I envy no one, nor am I partial, I am equal to all. So in the first 2 lines of the shloka, Krishna is saying that he is impartial. But then in the last 2 lines of the shloka, he says, but he who renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, and I am also a friend to him. So now he's saying that he is partial. Initially, he says he is impartial, and then he says he is partial. So what? Is he partial or is he impartial? That is the question. Okay, first of all, let's analyze the first half of the shloka, where he says that I envy no one. So one may ask so many questions. Let's read this.
If God is equal to all, then why do bad things happen to good people? Why does a pious person suffer? Does God treat everyone equally? Are we all equal in God's eye? Why did Krishna take the side of Pandavas and not Kauravas? Why did God take the side of demigods like Indra when the confrontation occurred between demigods and demons? Why did Lord Ram take the side of Sugriv and not Vali?
So if Krishna is saying that he's equal to everyone, then why did he favor all these categories of people? Okay, now coming back to the verse, first 2 lines, Krishna says he's not partial, then he says that he's partial. How to understand this? It depends on which level of the Lord's manifestation is being talked about. Now, when Krishna says that he is not partial, he's talking about his Paramatma aspect, or as a judge. So this Paramatma, he is present in the heart of every living entity. He is present in the heart of the demon as well as in the heart of the devotee, and of course animal, plant, species, etc., etc. So here, as the Paramatma, he is completely impartial. He does not say that I am in the heart of only my devotees. No, he's in the heart of every living entity. But the Bhagavan feature of the Lord, there is more intimacy. Now, yes, the Paramatma is in our hearts, but we cannot embrace the Paramatma. But in the Bhagavan feature, Krishna can embrace his devotees. So this Bhagavan aspect is more intimate than the Paramatma aspect of Krishna. So what is the focus? The focus in this verse is on the principle of pure devotional service. And when he sees the pure devotional service, he embraces that person. We all have seen that how Gopakumar, the central character from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when he finally reaches Goloka, then he's embraced by Krishna. And Krishna says, I have been waiting for you for so long, my friend. What took you so long to come back? So immediately he's embracing him. So that's the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So an example to understand this, a father may have two sons. One son may be very rebellious. He doesn't spend much time with his father, and he likes to party and go out with his friends, etc. Now the other son, he is very obedient. He stays at home. He spends time with his father. He has conversations with his father. Now this father, he will provide the necessities for both his sons equally. Food, shelter, clothing, education, whatever it is, he will provide to both his sons. But with which of the two sons there will be greater intimacy? Obviously, there will be more intimacy with the second son, wherein the son who is more obedient and spending quality time with his father, isn't it? So this is how Krishna is. He provides for all living entities, but if one surrenders unto him, then there is greater intimacy in the relationship with his devotees. So Krishna offers his care to everyone, but intimacy of the relationship is not possible for everyone. That intimacy is possible only for devotees. Now, if there is someone who says that, okay, I will provide everything that you need, but it stops at that. He doesn't care for you. He is not concerned about whether you have any problems, some health concerns, whether you have some enemies, whether you're being harassed by some enemies. He doesn't become an enemy to your enemy. He's not worried about your well-being. He's just providing for all your necessities. So is that a very intimate relationship? Yes or no?
Oh, no.
No, it's not intimate relationship. So Krishna does not only offer his care. He doesn't only offer the needs, provide our needs or necessities. He also offers his intimacy. He's not only a provider, he's also a relationship builder. He's also a relationship builder. That's what he did with the Pandavas. No? He cared for the Pandavas. He was always there whenever the Pandavas needed him. And Pandavas' enemies became his enemies. That's why he did not accept Duryodhana's invitation also. So that's how Krishna is with his devotees. So what is the answer to this question? Is Krishna partial or impartial? The answer is Krishna is impartially partial. He is impartially partial. He is partial to his devotees, and he's impartial in the sense that he is giving the opportunity to everyone to become his devotee. That opportunity that is open for everyone. In that, there is no partiality. Let's read the last 4 lines.
He is impartial in terms of opening the doors for everyone to receive the benefits of his partiality.
So there is his impartial feature. So Krishna is impartially partial. Let's read this.
Srila Prabhupada beautifully describes the relationship between Krishna and his devotees in his purport. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter, and when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice.
Yes, this combination of the Lord and his devotees is so special, no? That's what makes the Srimad Bhagavatam so special. Because when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is so full of the Lord, his devotees, and the relationship between his devotees. Even Chaitanya Charitamrita is like that. So that's what makes these literatures so special. Okay, now let's come to 9.30.
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः.
Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
So this is an extraordinary verse, a very, very mysterious verse, a very, very difficult to understand verse. Because, see, what Krishna is saying, that if one commits the most abominable action, most sinful action, most fallen activity, still you have to consider him saintly if he is engaged in devotional service. Most abominable action, su duracharo. Achara means activity, durachara means bad activity, su durachara means very bad. Okay, so most abominable action. So if one is engaged in the most abominable action, then you have to consider him as sadhu, if he is engaged in my devotional service. So one who does sinful activity is not a sadhu, he is an asadhu. And one who's a sadhu does not engage in sinful activities. But Krishna is saying here that even if he commits the most abominable activity, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. He is to be considered properly situated. So we have to be careful. In case we sometimes may come across some devotees who are chanting, who are following Krishna consciousness, but sometimes they accidentally may commit some sinful activities, we should still consider them saintly. We should not criticize them. In fact, the trend now is, if a saintly person commits a mistake or commits a sinful activity, then we are even more critical towards that person, isn't it? We say, oh, aise kaise, he's chanting also and he's doing that also. How come? Then we tend to criticize such people even more. But Krishna is saying that we have to consider such a person to be saintly. Now, there are more Shastric references to understand this. First, let's read from the Nrsimha Purana, the translation only.
Even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of a saintly character does not make him abominable.
So this is how the marks on the moon do not come in the way of the moon giving us light. In fact, so many poets, so many writers uh, glorify the moon, isn't it? How many of them have focused more on the spots on the moon than right on the beauty of the moon? So it's like this, the accidental fall down of a devotee is like the spots on the moon. They do not cover his real character because he is still engaged in devotional service. So the point here to understand is accidental fall down. It's not that purposely he does something and he continues to engage in sinful activity. No, sometimes there may be a slip, an accidental fall down, temporary situation, but because he's engaged in devotional service, very quickly he will come back on track. So accidental fall down. If somebody is walking and slips, then he can immediately get himself together and get back to whatever he was doing, right? A slip. But if it's a fatal fall, then it's different. Okay, then it's fatal, we say. So here Krishna is talking about accidental fall downs. So see, here in this, we have many Shastri quotes, so we will not read all of them. But here in this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn how devotional service is so pure and potent that a surrendered devotee of the Lord need not perform any other purificatory process. There is no need for him to do prayashchit. Why? Because he is engaged in devotional service. Therefore, he will come back on track. He will come back on track. Krishna will take care of him. And in fact, Krishna, he takes away the reaction to such sin. So when one does sinful activity, of course, one has to take the karmic reaction. But Krishna said in this shloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn that how Krishna takes away the reaction to such sin. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy to understand this. Let's read.
Because one has committed himself to Krishna consciousness, it is proclaimed here by Sri Krishna that within a very short time he will become saintly. One may pull the plug out of an electric fan, and the fan may still go on even though the electricity has been disconnected, but it is understood that the fan will soon come to a stop. Once we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, we turn the switch off for our karmic activities, and although these activities may still revolve, it is to be understood that they will quickly diminish.
Yes. So when we unplug a fan, because of the previous momentum, the fan continues to move for some time before it comes to a complete halt. So in the same way, when we cut off from sinful life and we take to Krishna consciousness, sometimes the momentum of our previous sinful activity, our previous in this lifetime or previous lifetimes, whatever it may be, because of those old habits, we may have accidental fall downs. We may have a slip sometimes. But Krishna says that because the person is engaged in my devotional service, he will come back on track. So that momentum will be there for some time because of our past activity, because it's a habit, right? Old habits die hard. There's a saying in English. Okay, let's read this forward.
The Lord says that even if a devotee commits an abominable act, he should be considered a sadhu or a pious man because of his unflinching devotion to the Lord. The devotees of the Lord never willingly commit any sinful act, but sometimes they commit something abominable due to their previous habits. Such acts should not be taken very seriously. However, because the devotees of the Lord are very powerful, whether they are on the heavenly planets or on this planet, if by chance they commit something abominable, it should not be taken into account but should be overlooked. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay. Okay, let's read this.
A momentary fall down by a sincere devotee of the Lord cannot change the Lord's feelings towards such a person. Even an ordinary father or mother quickly excuses a momentary transgression by the child. Just as children and parents enjoy mutual love, the Lord's surrendered servants enjoy a loving relationship with the Lord. An unpremeditated accidental fall down is quickly excused by the Lord, and all members of society must share in the Lord's own feelings, excusing such a sincere devotee. An advanced devotee should not be branded as materialistic or sinful because of accidental fall down. A devotee immediately returns to the platform of saintly service and begs the Lord's forgiveness. However, one who permanently remains in a fallen condition can no longer be accepted as a highly elevated devotee of the Lord.
So this is another important point Prabhupada is making in the last line, especially C. However, one who permanently remains in a fallen condition. So this is an accidental slip that is temporary and the person comes back on track. But if he permanently remains in the fallen condition, then he can no longer be accepted as a highly elevated devotee of the Lord, because then it is intentional. It's being done on purpose. Now it's not an accidental temporary fall down. Okay, so if somebody has permanently remains in the fallen condition, then he can no longer be accepted as a highly elevated devotee, says Srila Prabhupada. So this verse is not an excuse for us to do nonsense. Okay, Krishna says that anyway, if I'm doing devotional service and if I still do some simple activity, then I'm still a saint. No, this is not to encourage us to do nonsense. We cannot think that, okay, because I'm chanting the holy name, I can engage in sinful activity. No, because then again, that is not an accidental fall down that I'm purposely doing. Okay, intentionally I am doing. And in fact, that is one of the offenses to chanting, to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. That is one of the 10 offenses to chanting. So this verse is to glorify devotional service. This verse should not be used as an excuse for us to engage in sinful acts. That is again, Krishna's love for us is he is sending the disease to the hospital to get treated, not sending to jail. Okay, because we are materially diseased, he is not sending us to jail. He's sending us to the hospital to get treatment. So that is Krishna's love for us, his compassion. tells that we should be considered saintly even if we are having accidental fall downs, but if we continue to engage in devotional service. But what is our love for Krishna? As far as possible, we stay away from sinful activities. And if by chance we go through an accidental fall down, then we have to pray to the Lord to please forgive us and get back on track as soon as possible. That should be our love for Krishna. We should not take advantage of this verse. Okay, let's go to 9.31.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति.
Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it bodily that my devotee never perishes.
So what is the reason that we have to consider people who have accidental fall downs saintly? The reason Krishna gives in 9.31. Why? Because he quickly becomes righteous. He quickly comes back on track and attains lasting peace. Then he says, declare it boldly. He's telling Arjuna to declare to the rest of the world that my devotee never perishes. My devotee never perishes means what? That the devotee is always eager to serve Krishna and Krishna is always eager to protect his devotee. That's what it means. My devotee never perishes. Now somebody may ask, why does he ask Arjuna to declare? Why doesn't he declare it himself? What could be the answer?
Because he's a pure devotee.
Okay, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can also declare, no, that my devotee never perishes. Why does he ask Arjuna to declare?
Because Arjuna is a devotee.
Yes, Arjuna is a devotee, but Krishna is God.
But if it is coming from Arjuna, who himself is a devotee, to another devotee, it just makes like a personal connection that see, I'm a devotee.
Connection, but there can be no better connection than God and his devotee, right? Krishna also, if he declares, one can have faith in Krishna. One will have more faith in Krishna, or one will have more faith in Arjuna.
In both.
In both. So why doesn't Krishna declare it himself?
To teach an example through.
Yeah, he's setting an example, right?
Okay. Because he is going to break his promise very soon. Does anybody know the story?
No.
Does this picture ring a bell?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
No.
Okay, let's hear this story from His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
I'll give you one example how Krishna sometimes breaks his promise. It is a very nice story. Krishna, when he joined Arjuna, he promised from his own side that because the fight is between your brothers, so it is not my duty, because both of you are my relatives, so it is not my duty to join one party and not to join another. But because I have divided myself one side and other side my soldiers, but Durjodhana has decided to take my soldiers, not me, so I shall join you. But I shall not fight. I shall not fight. I may take some work which may assist you. So Arjuna offered, whatever work you like, you can take. So he said, all right, I shall drive your chariot. So Krishna's promise was that he will not fight. But at a time when Arjuna was perplexed, while fighting with Bhishma. Bhishma was the greatest fighter, although he was a very old man. Duryodhana incited him that because the other side are your very pet grandsons, you are not fighting fully. That was the complaint of Duryodhana. So, in order to encourage him, Bhishma said to Duryodhana, all right, tomorrow I shall finish all these 5 brothers. Tomorrow I shall finish. And I have got now special arrows for killing these 5 Shivalda's brothers. So Duryodhana was very intelligent. He told, all right, please keep these 5 arrows with me for the night. I shall deliver you tomorrow in the morning. All right, you take it. And Krishna understood. Krishna is everything knows, past, present, future. Krishna knew it, that Bhishma has now promised he will keep. So he asked Arjuna, this is also politics, that he go to Duryodhana. Do you remember that Duryodhana was elderly than Arjuna, that he would keep some promise which he has offered to you? Duryodhana said, Arjuna, whenever you want something, I shall give you. Now this is the time you can go. And what is that? Now he has got 5 arrows for killing you. You should take and come to me. So after fight, they were friends. So Arjuna went to the camp of Duryodhana and he was well received. Well, Arjuna, come on, what do you want? Come on, sit down. Do you want anything from me? If you want, I can stop this fight, I can return you. This. Arjuna said, no, I have not come to you for begging my kingdom. Fighting will go on, but I want, you promise something. Yes, I know, I offer you. What do you want? Now I want those 5 arrows. At once you deliver. Then this information was carried to Bhishma. Bhishma knew that Krishna is very cunning also. He will save his devotee. So he has done this. All right, in spite of Krishna, he has broken my promise. And tomorrow I shall see, if Krishna does not break his promise, then his friend will be killed. I will fight in such a way. So he was fighting in such a way that Arjuna become almost dead. Then at that time, Krishna, the chariot was torn into pieces. Arjuna fell down. And then Krishna took up one of the wheel of the chariot and came before. Now, Bhishma, you stop this fighting, otherwise I will kill you. Krishna at once gave up his arrow and he offered, all right, kill me. The thing is that because Bhishma promised that I shall kill Arjuna tomorrow, and Krishna also promised not to fight, just to save these 2 devotees, Arjuna and Bhishma. Bhishma was also a great devotee. Just to show him that I am breaking my promise. Please stop. I am breaking. You want it. Either I shall break my promise or you shall kill Arjuna. So better see that I have broken my promise. So in this way, sometimes for devotee, he sometimes breaks his own promise.
So this is the story behind why Krishna tells Arjuna, you declare, because he himself is not going to keep up his promise. So people will say, oh, but Krishna breaks his promise. So Krishna tells Arjuna. So you can see in this picture how Krishna is rushing to Bhishma Dev to kill him with the chariot, with the wheel of a broken chariot. And Bhishma Dev, then he puts his arms on, he says, all right, come kill me, I am ready. Both of them are devotees. Even Bhishma Dev is a devotee. It's just that he is fighting on the opposite side. So by this one Leela, by this one act, Krishna has both fulfilled the desire of Bhishma and also protected Arjuna. How he has fulfilled the desire of Bhishma? Because Krishna made Bhishma, because Krishna came in the way of Bhishma fulfilling his vow, because Bhishma had vowed to kill Arjuna the next day, but Arjuna took the arrows away from Duryodhana, and therefore Bhishma was not able to fulfill his promise. So Bhishma's desire was, just as how Krishna has forced me to break my promise. I also want that Krishna should break his promise. So Krishna, he fulfilled the desire of Bhishma, and he also protected Arjuna. So because of this, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you declare that my devotee shall never perish. Here we see how chanting is the most auspicious activity in the whole universe. Therefore, because the devotee is engaging in chanting the holy name, therefore he can come back on track. Therefore, he never perishes. Let's read this.
Chanting is the most auspicious activity in the whole universe. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.22. Devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.31. Sukdev Goswami continued, "My dear king, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously."
So that's what Krishna said, no? That if he's engaged in devotional service, even if he commits the most abominable activity, you have to consider him saintly. And then after that, he said, because he will come back on track, he will quickly become righteous. Why? Because if he's engaged in devotional activity begins with chanting. So if that chanting is considered to be the most auspicious activity in the whole universe, it can uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. So definitely he will come back on track. And that's the reason why such a person should be considered a sadhu. Let's read this translation. So this is a conversation between Krishna and Uddhava. The conversation just before Krishna was about to leave the planet, just before his departure. There is a conversation between Uddhava and Krishna, and this conversation is recorded as Uddhava Gita, it is called. And this is one section of that. Let's read the translation.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna said, "My dear Uddhava, by association with my pure devotees, one can destroy one's attachment for all objects of material sense gratification. Such purifying association brings me under the control of my devotee. One may perform the Astanga Yoga system, engage in philosophical analysis of the elements of material nature, practice non-violence and other ordinary principles of piety, chant the Vedas, perform penances, take to the renounced order of life, execute sacrificial performances and dig wells, plant trees and perform other public welfare activities, give in charity, carry out severe vows, worship the demigods, chant confidential mantras, visit holy places, or accept major and minor disciplinary injunctions. But even by performing such activities, one does not bring me under his control."
So just see how much Krishna loves his devotees. All these long list of activities cannot bring Krishna under his control. But when we perform devotional service in the association of pure devotees, then that can bring Krishna under control. So Krishna loves his devotees so much. And this is the reason why that even if one has an accidental fall down, then the person will come back on track, because there already has the loving interchange between Krishna and his devotees has already started when the devotees started rendering devotional service. So here there are some quotes on how very dear are devotees to Krishna. Let's quickly read them.
Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers him merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. Advaita Acharya considered the meaning of the verse in this way. Not finding any way to repay the debt he owes to one who offers him a tulsi leaf and water, Lord Krishna thinks there is no wealth in my possession that is equal to a tulsi leaf and water. Thus, the Lord liquidates the debt by offering himself to the devotee. Considering in this way, the Acharya began worshipping the Lord. The position of being a devotee is higher than that of equality with Lord Krishna, for the devotees are dearer to Lord Krishna than his own self. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because of his devotional service. It is the beautiful and exalted nature of devotional service that the infinite Lord becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity because of it. In reciprocal devotional activities with the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys the transcendental mellow of devotional service.
So if somebody just offers him some water with tulsi, Krishna thinks that this offering is so great that I cannot repay. No wealth in my possession can repay this debt. Therefore, he offers himself to the devotee. And then see in that in the third reference, the position of being a devotee is higher than being equal to Krishna. Because for Krishna, his devotees are more important than he himself. That's how exalted is the position of a devotee of the Lord. Some more.
Lord Chaitanya told Vasudev that whatever a pure devotee wants from his master, Lord Krishna doubtlessly grants because he has no duty other than to fulfill the desire of his devotee. A highly elevated devotee can bind me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his heart by love. Wherever he looks, he sees me and nothing else. Characteristically, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not take seriously an offense committed by a pure devotee. The Lord accepts whatever small service a devotee renders as being such a great service that he is prepared to give even himself, what to speak of other benedictions. Sri Bahulaswa said to Krishna when he visited his kingdom, "You have said, neither Ananta, goddess Shri, nor unborn Brahma is dearer to me than my unalloyed devotee. To prove your own words true, you have now revealed yourself to our eyes."
So Krishna has no other duty to fulfill other than to fulfill the desire of his devotee. Okay, so now let's go to a very, very controversial verse, 32.
मां हि पार्थव्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युः पापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्.
Translation: O son of Partha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination.
So why is this a controversial verse? Who can say?
Because he's saying that we are lower birth, women, Vaishyas, and Shudras.
Yes. So this is the controversy here. And imagine where Krishna is speaking this, right? In the 9th chapter, right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, this verse comes. So let us try to understand. First of all, if we have to understand this, we have to come out of the bodily concept. Stop thinking that we are this body, that we are women. Okay. First of all, come out of the bodily concept. Now, why are women, Vaishyas, and Shudras considered to be lower birth? Papa Yonaha, Striyo, Vaishyas, Tatha Shudras. So first, let's discuss Vaishyas and Shudras. We know that in the Varnashram system, we have Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Now, out of these four, the one who is the body of which of these four is most suitable for spiritual practice? Brahmana, yes. Which body is the least suitable for spiritual practice? Shudras. Because the Shudras are not inclined by nature to take to spirituality. It's the nature, Vaishyas and Shudras. Therefore, Krishna has put Vaishyas and Shudras here. Brahmanas and Kshatriya, they are inclined towards spiritual activity. In fact, Krishna uses this term in the beginning of the Gita. He says Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi means they are Rajas, they are kings, but they are Rishis, they are saintly. So saintly kings. Because the Brahmanas and the Kshatriya would go to the Gurukul and take formal training from the spiritual master. But Vaishyas and Shudras, they are not spiritually inclined. Okay, the Vaishyas are more concerned about business, about making money. That is their primary concern. And Shudras, they only know how to take an instruction and execute it. That's what the Shudras know. So therefore, they are considered to be lower birth. Now coming to women, first of all, to get a human body, we must have a lot of good karma in our karmic back balance to give us a human body. Now within human body, some souls get a male body, some souls get a female body. Now the souls who have a higher karmic balance get a male body, and souls who have slightly lesser than that get a female body. Now why this? Because a woman's body is not as suitable for spiritual advancement than a male body. What's the reason? Because women are more attached to family, to children, to parents, to friends. Okay, so there is more attachment, and of course a woman has more duties to perform. Therefore, the woman's body is less suitable for self-realization. For a woman, it's emotions first. Everything else comes later. Okay, so these emotions, these attachments have no place in spiritual advancement, in spirituality. The lesser one is attached to family, to children, the better it is for one's advancement in spiritual life. So because for women, it's always heart over the head, but for men, it is head over the heart. That's the nature of a woman and the nature of a man. Now, of course, if a woman takes care of her family, of her children, of her husband, then the husband is able to concentrate on his spiritual practices. That's the reason why the woman or the wife gets half the karma of her husband by default. By default, the wife takes away half of whatever the husband accumulates because she facilitates the man to advance in his spiritual life. So that facility is given to the women because of this. Okay, there is a very, very famous interview by Srila Prabhupada and a female reporter. So she's interviewing Prabhupada and she insists that men and women are equal. And Prabhupada says that no, there is a difference between men and women, and one has to respect and accept those differences. Physically, they are different. Emotionally, they are different. They are not the same. Okay, so let's take this example. If a man and woman, they are not married, okay, and they unite. Now the woman is pregnant. Who is more affected? The woman is more affected or the man is more affected?
Woman.
The woman is more affected. Obviously, how many cases do we have where the man just leaves? The man does not want to take the responsibility. The man just leaves. He does not get emotionally attached. He just goes away. The woman who stays on with the pregnancy and she gives birth to the child, does she just walk away? Can she just walk? There may be some women who walk away, but we are talking as a general rule, right? A woman does not walk away from the child. She takes the responsibility of the child. She has to bring up the child. So she is more attached. She is more attached. The man is more detached. That's the point we are trying to make. Now, there are some pastimes which I would like to bring to your notice. There is this this section in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto, there is a conversation between Devahuti and Kardama Muni. Okay, and Devahuti, she very nicely serves Kardama Muni, and then she serves him so well that she has completely neglected herself, her own physical appearance. She is completely emancipated. And then Kardama Muni takes notice, and then he tells her that I can never repay you for what you have done to me. He thanks his wife, and now he wants to repay her. He wants to please her. So he creates an aerial mansion, nicely furnished and all that. And in that aerial mansion, he takes her on the tour of the universe. Okay, the 14 planetary systems and all across. He takes her to all these places, and then he expands himself 9 times. 9 times. And in those 9 expansions, he is uniting with his wife to satisfy her. And there, Prabhupada writes in the purport that a woman's sexual appetite is 9 times higher than a man's sexual appetite. And scientifically also, we know when a man and woman unite once, if they want to engage in the act again, a 2nd time, 3rd time, then the man needs some time. But a woman does not need time for it. Okay, so woman's appetite is 9 times greater than that of a man. So sense gratification in a woman, or the tendency to engage in sense gratification in a woman's body, is higher than the tendency for sense gratification in a male body. We have this saying, no? A diamond is a woman's best friend. It's the women who like to dress up nicely, have nice jewelry, they are fond of diamonds. They like to have these things. Men are usually not like that. That's why, again, a woman's body is more prone to sense gratification than a man's body. Therefore, one who is more advanced in spirituality, in the next birth, he will get a man's body, and one who is less than that gets a woman's body. But of course, we have to remember that getting a human body itself means that we were spiritually advanced in our previous lifetimes. There is also another pastime of Lord Shiva and Sati. Sati, Lord Shiva's first wife. Now, Sati's father, Daksha, did not like Lord Shiva. And Daksha was holding a yagya. And Sati wanted to go there for the yagya. And she tells Lord Shiva that all my family, my relatives will be there, and they will come there well dressed. And I also have the desire to dress well and go there and meet all my family. And Lord Shiva tells her that actually it's not appropriate to go there because your father dislikes me. But she insists. Okay, Sati insists. One second. But Sati insists, and then Lord Shiva and Sati go for the yagya of her father, but then her father Daksha insults Lord Shiva. Now Sati, after that, Sati cannot bear that her husband was insulted by her father, so she self-immolates herself. So again, you know, from this pastime also we see how women are more attached. They like to dress well. That's something that women like more than the men as a general rule. Now, of course, if you take the case of one man and one woman, now that one man may find several women who are more spiritually inclined than him. Yes. So if you take it on a one-on-one basis, it's not the right analysis, but as a general rule. And that's why if you see in our Shastra, in the books, it is said that women are less intelligent. Less intelligent means they let emotions take over them. But for a man, he uses his brain, he uses his head more than he uses his heart. The women use the heart more than they use the head. Okay. Does anybody have anything to say?
But why do they say like a lower birth? Like why can't they, why doesn't God use like a different term?
No, it is a lower birth compared to men. That's what, because a woman's body has these disadvantages, is more prone to sense gratification than a man's body.
Okay, so because of the karmic balance accumulation, that's the reason why.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else has anything to say? Comment, ask, question, argue, debate.
Never thought of this way, It's so surprising to know all this.
Yeah, that's why Krishna says it in chapter 9, after we read 8 chapters.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a bit, so that's why we said this verse is very controversial. And, out of curiosity, I was just reading, I went online and I was just seeing how different people have given different interpretations, which is because they are afraid to present it as it is. Okay, and somebody else, not a bona fide translation, it's not good to read, but just for the sake of preaching, so that we can argue, this person says he has translated this verse by saying that irrespective of gender or varnashram, anybody can attain the supreme destination. This is how he translates this verse. But Krishna very clearly says striyo. Striyo means women. So Krishna very clearly says striyo, vaishyas, tatha shudras. And see, Prabhupada has translated it as it is: women, vaishyas, and shudras. So Srila Prabhupada is not afraid to present the Shastra as it is. Other translations I saw, they have just twisted it to present it in such a way so that it's not controversial. But anyway, the bottom line in this verse is, one may think that Krishna is differentiating. Why is he differentiating between women, men, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana, Kshatriya? Why? But if you see closely, Krishna, this is a verse that is removing all kinds of discrimination. Krishna is bringing everyone at the same level. Because what is he saying here? Those who take shelter of me, whoever it may be, whether it is women, Vaishya, and Shudra, although they are usually not inclined, right? They are of lower birth. But if they take shelter of me, they can attain the supreme destination. So this is a verse that removes all discrimination. This is not a verse where Krishna is making a discrimination. He is removing all discrimination in this verse. So even if we are women or Vaishya, first of all men and women in Kali Yuga are all less than Shudras. So in Kali Yuga, the differentiation is not there, right? Everyone is less than Shudras because hardly anyone in Kali Yuga is inclined to spirituality. Okay. But anyway, Krishna says that even if you have a different starting point, a starting point which is not the best, because we all have different starting points, right? Depending on what we did in our previous lifetime. So irrespective of what is our starting point, the bottom line is everybody, all of us can reach the supreme destination if we take shelter of Krishna. That's the bottom line. This is the main idea that we should not miss in this verse. That we all have different starting points in life, but the process of bhakti is so powerful, so potent, so fast that once we start off, the starting points do not matter. So once we take to devotional service, irrespective of whether we are in a man's body or a woman's body, now that does not matter anymore, because now we are surrendered to Krishna. Whether we are in the body of a man or a body of a woman or the body of a Shudra, it does not matter. We can reach our destination. That is the point Krishna is making here. Okay? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, 9.33.
किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणाः पुण्या भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यमसुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम्.
Translation. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
So Krishna is saying that even those who are having a body that is not so favorable for spiritual advancement, like in 9.32, if they can attain the supreme destination, then how much more can the Brahmanas, the devotees, and the Raja Rishis, see, he is using the word Raja Rishi here, the saintly kings, then they definitely, how much more can they attain the goal? So Arjuna is a Raja Rishi, right? He is a Kshatriya, but he's also saintly. So he's telling that you have a favorable starting point. You are a Raja Rishi. Then why are you hesitating? You, even though you have come in this temporary miserable world, you engage in this loving devotional service to me. You have a favorable starting point. You are a Raja Rishi. You engage in devotional service. You will also attain perfection. And here, see, Krishna is describing this spiritual world as a nityam and a sukham. The third line, a nityam and a sukham. A nityam, it is temporary, it is not permanent. And a sukham, place full of miseries. So again, he is describing this material world as a nityam, a sukham. It's a temporary place full of miseries. Previously, what did he say? Dukhalayam, ashashvatam. Same thing. Dukhalayam, place full of miseries, ashashvatam, temporary. So same thing he's saying here, only the words are different. Anityam, asukham, lokam, he says. Okay, so what is the essence of all the Vedas?
Connection to unite with the Lord.
Which book? Which book is the essence of all the Vedas?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita, perfect. What is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita? Which chapters are the essence of the Bhagavad Gita?
The middle chapter?
Middle, yes, exactly. The middle 6 chapters, chapters 7 to 12. Now, what is the essence of the middle 6 chapters?
How to attain Lord?
Which chapters are the essence of chapter 7 to 12? Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay, 9.
Chapter 9 and 10, because
10.
these are right in the middle of
Middle.
7 and 12. Okay. So now we are coming to the essence of chapters 9 and 12. This particular verse, which we are going to see now, the last verse of this chapter, is the essence of chapters 9 and 10, because this is the last verse of chapter 9. So this is in the middle of the middle section. So what we are going to see now, this verse is the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of all Vedic literature. Okay, so let's hear this verse.
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaevam atmanam matparayanaha. Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yogo Nama Navamodhyayah.
Translation. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me.
So see, in 9.33, Krishna used the word bhajasva mam. Be engaged in loving service unto me. So what are the components of this bhajasva? What are the components of this loving service that Krishna is elaborating in 9.34? What are the 4 components? Engage your mind, always thinking in me, become my devotee, offer obeisances unto me, and worship me. These are the 4 components, how we can engage in loving devotional service to Krishna. This is the only shloka in the entire Bhagavad Gita which Krishna repeats twice. The same shloka, only with a slight variation on the last 2 lines, but the meaning is the same. But the first two lines are the exact same. Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskaro. Krishna will repeat this in the 18th chapter. And chapter 9 and chapter 18 are the only two chapters in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna's emotions hit its peak. And in these two verses, he is repeating this shloka. So he's saying how we have to do bhajasva, how we have to engage in him by these four components. So if you see, both at the mental and physical level. At the mental level, engage your mind, always thinking of me. Physical level, offer obeisances unto me. So both at the mental and physical level, we have to be completely absorbed in Krishna. Krishna says, surely then you will come to me. So this entire section that we saw in this chapter is strongly establishing bhakti to Krishna as the ultimate. So Krishna is saying, you take to bhakti, I will deliver you, I will take care of you, I will give you what you lack, I carry what you lack, and I preserve what you have. He says that even if you have an unfavorable starting point, still you can achieve the destination. He says that even if you have an accidental fall down on the path, I will take care of you. So in this whole section, he's saying, I come to me, think of me, offer obeisances unto me. I will take care of you. I give you what you lack. I. Nowhere else Krishna is bringing any other conception of absolute truth. Okay, he's talking about himself only here. So it's establishing bhakti to Krishna as the ultimate supreme, especially in this last section of chapter number 9. So like this, with this, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we come to the end of chapter number 9. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So now, because it's almost 6:50, I'm going to leave some homework for y'all. Here in this slide, there is a certain progression in the Gita. I have put it here in short. Actually, this is from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's notes. So you can go to chapter 4.24, for example, and there see Krishna is talking about Brahma. Okay. Then 9.16, he says Aham Brahma, that I am that supreme absolute truth. Then 7.19, he says Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. So the absolute truth is Vasudev, he says. But he's not saying I am that Vasudev, I am that absolute truth. But in 9.13, he says Mam Bhutadim Avyayam. That absolute truth is me, Krishna. So like that, you see, you can observe the progression in the Gita by going through these shlokas. So this I leave as homework for your own self-analysis. You take out these verses, read the old verses, read the current verses of chapter 9 and make a comparison and see how Krishna is progressively revealing things in the Gita. As we progress, he's being more explicit, more clear, and more emphatic in establishing himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so we'll stop here. You can read the verse by verse summary also as homework. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention is in this verse, we see how Krishna is the cause of all causes, supreme controller, supreme proprietor, and supreme enjoyer. These are the four principal features of God. Okay, how God is the cause of all causes. Everything comes from God. God cannot come from anything else, because if God comes from something else, then that something else should be God. No, so there cannot be anything superior to God. So therefore, God is the cause of all causes. He is the supreme controller. There can be no higher controller than him. He is a supreme proprietor. There can be no one who owns anything more than him. And he is a supreme enjoyer. Nobody can enjoy independently from Krishna. He is the supreme enjoyer. So this is also established in this one chapter, chapter number 9, in these different verses. This again is homework for you. You can go through these verses and see how these particular verses are establishing Krishna as the cause of all causes, supreme proprietor, supreme controller, and the supreme enjoyer. For example, in 9.24, he says, I am the only enjoyer. Okay, so Krishna is the only enjoyer, which means he is the supreme enjoyer. Then he says the whole cosmic order is under me. Everything is moving according to my will. This entire energy, this material nature is working under my direction. So he is the supreme controller because everything is moving under the direction of Krishna. Then when in 9.18 he says that he is the resting place and the eternal seed of everything. That means he is the supreme proprietor. Then cause of all causes. He says, by my form, unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. Then he says that I am the very source. 9.5, he says, I am the very source of creation. Source of creation. So he is the cause of all causes. So you can read these verses also in detail and see how Krishna is establishing himself as a supreme enjoyer, supreme controller, supreme proprietor, and the cause of all causes. Okay, so with this, we'll end this chapter finally. After it, I think this has taken over 200 slides, this chapter, but very, very important. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and by the mercy of Krishna, we have come to the end of chapter number 9. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Eti Sanam Mataji ki jai. Shri
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Dandat koti koti dandat pranam to your sincere seva.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
Bhakta ki jai.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji,
Thank you so much.
so much.
So I
Thank
just
you,
wanted to
Mataji.
apologize again to Shreya. It was her birthday on Monday and we were supposed to meet on Zoom, but I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. But I would like to
Happy.
Completely okay.
and I request all of you to please pray for Shreya's spiritual well-being. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish that she can advance more and more in her spiritual life. She has some very nice qualities. She's very humble, very sincere, right? She attends the classes as much as she can. And it's very evident that although I've never personally met her, but her sincerity and enthusiasm to learn clearly come across even on the Zoom screen. So I really hope and pray that she can advance nicely in Krishna consciousness. Let's pray for her by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, please. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. भक्ति देवती श्रीमती श्री तुलसी महारानी की
Jai.
आपको बहुत भक्ति दे। सीधा वृंदावन धाम से, सिमायापुर धाम से, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम, श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव के आशीर्वाद आपके साथ बने रहे। हरि हरि गौर।
Thank you so much. Thank you. And it's all because of you I'm able to advance. I don't have those qualities. It's just because of mercy of you all and Krishna and Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Jai
Thank
Srila
you.
Prabhupada. All right, so I need to be going because I have another place. I need to attend something else. So I'm sorry, I have to rush. Thank you all very much for joining. Have a nice week. Wish you a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Our next class will be in 2022, if Krishna so.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Hare
you all very
Krishna,
much.
Hare Bol. Thank you, bye.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bye. Bye.
Bye.